Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order, please. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Seeing none, the minutes from the council planning meeting. The resolution reads that the minutes of the council planning committee meeting held on July 2nd, 2024 be approved. May I have a mover and a seconder? Thank you, Tyler and Barb. Sorry, Councillor Alsop, Councillor Enright Miller. All in favor? Thank you. The motion's carried. I have some opening remarks. The public meeting is being heard by the Council Planning Committee, and public notice has been given in accordance with the Planning Act. The citizen appointees joining are Mr. John Baltutis, Mr. Tyler Fenton, and Ms. Serena Van Dyke. They may ask questions and participate in the discussion to assist in the recommendations to City Council, but may not make motions or vote in connection with the public meeting. An important update per Bill 185. The right to appeal a planning decision is now restricted further. Appeals are limited to the applicant, the minister, approval authorities, public bodies, and specified persons who have made oral or written submissions prior to the adoption of the official plan amendment, the OPA, or the zoning bylaw amendment, the ZPA. Specified persons are defined in the Planning Act and are made up of limited listed entities, mainly consisting of impacted utility providers or telecommunication infrastructure providers. Therefore, it is crucial for those directly affected to make their submissions known during this public meeting. The Engineering and Development Services Department will consider comments received at this public meeting, as well as any written comments, in analyzing the applications that are part of tonight's meeting. For further information regarding an application from this public meeting, please email planning@belleville.ca. A recommendation report will be brought forward upon receipt of all agency and public comments in the future. Any person wishing to be advised of the Council Planning Committee's recommendations regarding today's applications are requested to leave their name and address on the appropriate notification sheet that is on the clipboard beside the podium. Moving on to the public meeting regarding the Planning Act. The resolution reads that the housekeeping amendment to the official plan of the City of Belleville be referred to the regular Planning Advisory Committee meeting for consideration. May I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Alsop, Councillor Millette, and if I could ask staff to present the application.
On the screen?
No.
Is it there? Okay. Perfect. Thank you, Ms. Chair. So we as staff are bringing forward an official plan housekeeping amendment. As you're aware, the official plan was originally approved by the province on April 11th, 2023. And that was after some time with the province that it spent there. It was approved subject to 24 modifications. However, through the Official Plan Adjustments Act, our official plan has been further modified to only include 8 of those original modifications brought forward by the province, and that was with the latest change brought through Bill 162. Now that we feel that we have more certainty with respect to the final approved official plan, staff have compiled a number of housekeeping amendments that we would like to bring forward as part of this OPA for consideration. So they generally fall into 4 categories or 4 themes, which are outlined here in this first presentation slide. So generally, changes to create further or provide for further provincial alignment. And there's some corrections and refinements that staff have identified since the official plan was first submitted. And then we have 2 perhaps more specific changes with respect to a certain area of a Canofton neighborhood and the land uses there, and our Schedule C, the road systems plan. So I'll get a little bit further into each of those themes. So with respect to the changes that fall under provincial alignment, we are proposing some adjustments to the terminology used in the official plan. When the official plan was approved, we had changed some of the terminology to align with the future new zoning bylaw that's now approved with respect to housing options. So for example, rather than single detached dwelling, we use the terminology one unit dwelling. We as staff are proposing to change it back to the conventional terminology used through provincial legislation, just to clear up any confusion that there might be when interpreting provincial legislation and our official plan. So a minor change, but changes throughout the document just to refer to housing options as single detached dwellings, semi-detached dwellings, townhouses, etc. With respect to the second change there, re-implementing most of the provincial modifications. So as I stated earlier, there was a decision from April 11th that included 24 modifications from the province. And then through the subsequent changes through the Official Plan Adjustments Act, some of those modifications were taken back out of our official plan. Staff have reviewed some of the changes that were taken back out, and they're still quite relevant. A lot of them relate to recent changes through provincial legislation, such as Bill 23. So we've identified those modifications that are more appropriate to reinsert into the official plan, again, just for better alignment with provincial legislation. So some of those changes relate to the role of the Conservation Authority, for example, with respect to their jurisdiction and natural heritage, and parkland dedication policies, things such as that. So again, those were provincial modifications that were already first put in and then taken back out through those subsequent changes by the province, I think, just to make things more straightforward in what they wanted to do, which was to give the municipality more of a say over their official plan. So we've identified those changes to bring back in. With respect to theme 2, which is corrections and refinements, we've identified some corrections that need to be made. The first one is a change to our rural severance policies. So with respect to those, it looks like it was a human error of taking a policy from the agricultural severances and applying it to the rural land use. So it was a simple sentence where the minimum lot area for an agricultural use is required to be 40 hectares. Which is not appropriate in the rural zone, or a rural designation. That's an agricultural land use policy. With respect to the angular plane policy, that's the section in the residential policies of 3.10.2 sub G. And when this policy was first introduced, this was a new policy introduced as part of the new official plan. The intent there was to create a policy that helped address higher density infill intensification type properties going in abutting single detached residential. We wanted to ensure there was some type of protective policies for the existing low density residential. Through implementation, we realized that the way that the policy was worded, it was too broad. It was capturing more medium density development, such as even a townhouse row, that didn't necessarily need additional setbacks from single detached dwelling. So there was some refinement done to that policy, as well as including mixed use developments, because now the official plan enables mixed use development. So those are the changes there. With respect to the road classification, again, this was it appeared to be an error through one of the official plan amendments applicable to 40 Yeoman Street, the north portion. The policy included having a road, an access policy in our road section where it should have been applicable only to this site and the site-specific exemptions. And then finally, we've just added an option for staff to be able to require a colored architectural rendering as part of a complete application if determined necessary. Finally, we'll get to the more specifics or changes. This is the Canifton neighborhood. This neighborhood came to our attention as part of a privately initiated official plan and zoning bylaw amendment for 84 Canifton Street North, or Canifton Road North, which is the big block which is now residential in the center of this area. So when that application came forward, we realized this area of properties was all designated commercial and had been designated commercial since the previous official plan. So these land use designations were carried over into the new official plan, just due to the limited scope of our new official plan amendment. We didn't do a citywide land use review per se. So this area, so it's been historically designated commercial for several years now, almost 20 years. However, if you were to look at what's actually existing in this area, there's some scattered commercial, but it's primarily a residential area. So we called we invited the residents within this commercial designated area to come to a public information center where we could discuss their land use designation with them. We held that meeting earlier in April. We wanted to find out what the neighborhood was desired for the future land use of their area, because as staff saw it, it seemed like a more residential area. So based on the feedback from that meeting, there was a general consensus. There was 12 participants, and all of the commercial landowners came out that they liked things the way they were. The existing commercial was, had integrated into the neighborhood, but the residential properties desired to be redesignated to residential. So that's what staff are proposing as part of this change. We're proposing to recognize the existing land uses. So some properties would be redesignated, those in the black outline, to residential land use, so away from commercial. And the existing commercial properties would retain their commercial land use designation. There's two properties at the southeast corner of this map here, southwest corner of the map, which would be redesignated to open space again to reflect their existing land uses. Finally, we have the road systems plan. So this is Schedule C of the official plan. This schedule was updated as part of the new official plan. Again, through implementation, there was identified changes to Schedule C that we feel require additional review through the Transportation Master Plan update. For example, there was some reclassifications of roads from collector to arterial that differed from information that we had through our Transportation Master Plan. So staff are proposing at this time to revert to the previous Schedule C as amended through, there's one amendment that was done for the Village of Avonlea, which is reflected on this schedule.
Can I ask a quick question while we're on this portion, Madam Chair?
Please, Councilman Webb.
Yes, through you, Chair. You mentioned that some roads had been designated as arterial and will revert back to collector. In one in particular, in the East Hill, I believe Bleecker somehow became an arterial road.
That's correct. So
It's now going to remain properly as a collector.
that's correct. It would be redesignated to its designation in the previous official plan, which was collector.
Just one more question, Madam Chair, if I may, through you. That's one example that I'm acutely aware of because I live on Bleecker. I've been lobbying against allowing transport trucks to use that, but that's another fight for another day. But were there any other streets in the plan that Mike, that were also misdesignated and reverting back?
Yes, so there are other streets. So right now it's basically a situation of we need more information. We don't know. Perhaps some streets may be reclassified in the future through the Transportation Master Plan update based on recommendations coming out of that plan. But for right now, we've identified a few here, enough to justify a complete reversion. An example would be Canafton Road North of Highway 401. Another example of a reclassification from collector to arterial. The road width, the existing street profile doesn't lend itself to an arterial road, and the number of vehicles that we're aware of traveling down that road wouldn't be hitting the numbers from an arterial standpoint. So that's another example of a street that was reclassified as part of our new Schedule C, based on from what staff can see, it may be more appropriate to be a collector, and therefore back to the previous Schedule C is most appropriate for now. We've asked as part of the Transportation Master Plan update that road classifications be reviewed, and so we hope that recommendations coming out of that future study could prompt an official plan amendment in the future for alignment with an updated Transportation Master Plan.
Okay, thank you, and hopefully at that point, we might be able to get those semi-trucks out of residential neighborhoods. Thank you.
No problem. Through you, Mr. Chair, I'll just continue. That is it. So that really is an overview of all of the changes that we're proposing. If there's any questions, happy to answer them.
Wonderful. Any questions for Desta? Seeing none, then thank you very much. So therefore, if I could call the question, please. All in favor of the housekeeping amendment being referred to the regular Planning Advisory Committee for consideration? Thank you. All in favor? Thank you. Motion's carried. Could I have a motion to adjourn, please? Thank you, Councillor Enright Miller. Councillor Alsop? All in favor? Thank you. We'll move on to the Planning Advisory Committee. So I'd like to call this meeting to order, and again ask for a disclosure of any pecuniary interest in general nature thereof. Seeing none, the minutes from the Planning Committee meeting of July 2nd, 2024 be approved. Could I have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Millette, and a seconder. Thank you, Ms. Van Dyke. All in favor? Thank you. The motion's carried. No deputations this evening. For correspondence, that the Planning Advisory Committee received the correspondence for information. A mover, please. Thank you, Councillor Enright Miller. Councillor Kelly. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Tyler? Thank you, all in favor. The motion's carried. I just thought I'd check. Referrals from public meeting. The housekeeping amendment to the official plan of the City of Belleville, file number PLOPA 2024-0090. And the resolution reads that the Planning Advisory Committee recommends the following to City Council. That application PLOPA 2024-0090 to amend the official plan of the City of Belleville be approved as follows. That the official plan of the City of Belleville be amended as proposed through the city initiated housekeeping amendment consisting of text and schedule amendments. A mover, please. Thank you, Mr. Baltutis. Councillor Alsop. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you. The motion's carried. Well done. Well done. Moving on to Section 7 reports. The staff recommendation report, proposed zoning bylaw amendment and application for draft plan of subdivision, Settlers Ridge East, Phase 3, City of Belleville. The owner is 2215-100 Ontario Inc. and 23-80416 Ontario Inc. The applicant is RFA Planning Consultant Inc. and the file number is B77-1215 and 12T-24002. And the resolution reads that the Planning Advisory Committee recommends the following to City Council. That application B77-1214 to amend the City of Belleville zoning bylaw 2024-100 as amended for Settlers Ridge East, Phase 3, City of Belleville be approved as follows. That zoning bylaw number 2024-100 as amended be amended by rezoning the subject land from residential type 1 R15 zone and development control DC zone to residential type 2 R2-30 zone with special provisions to permit an increased lot coverage for detached dwellings and a reduced lot frontage for townhouse dwellings and the open space zone for a parkette as shown on attachment 3 to Engineering and Development Services report number APS 2024-34 and that approval of the draft plan of subdivision prepared by RFA Planning Consultant, Inc., dated June 27th, 2024, as shown on attachment 4 to Engineering and Development Services Report Number APS 2024-39, be granted for the lands identified as part of Lot 3, Concession 3, Township of Thurlow, now City of Belleville, County of Hastings, File 12T-24002, subject to the draft plan conditions outlined in attachment number 11 to report APS 2024-39. May I have a mover, please? Councillor Alsop, Mr. Baltutis. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you, the motion's carried. Moving on to item number 8, information matters, the official plan and zoning bylaw amendment monitoring report. The resolution reads that the official plan and zoning bylaw amendment monitoring report dated August 6, 2024 be received. May I have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Enright Miller. Ms. Van Dyke. Discussion? Seeing Councillor Millet.
Madam Chair, through you to staff and anyone who can answer my question. I know that we've been hung up on this one for quite some time, but it's no less top of mind for an awful lot of people in the east end of the city. I'm referring to the planned development of Hanley Park North, sorry. Macaulay Shiomi Housing Limited. And I know it's been, the last date it was before us was March 21, and we're quote unquote waiting for a follow-up from the agent. Through you, Madam Chair, to staff, anyone, Mr. Deming, anyone, where are we with that, or are we anywhere at all? Greg?
Certainly, through the chair to Councillor Millet. Yes, it is something we had conversation with the applicants, consultants about 2 months ago now, and we were expecting follow-up submission from them addressing the outstanding traffic study peer review comments and environmental impact study comments from the peer reviews that were provided to them. I believe they've also undertaken a hydrogeological study, and we're expecting a submission of that as well. So haven't received it yet. We can follow up and see what their timing is, though.
Thank you. It's just purely as a matter of, and someone had brought it up a few weeks ago with me, and I was at a loss, and yeah, it has been some time since we've had anything on that. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Any other questions on the monitoring report? Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you. The motion's carried. No new general business. A motion to adjourn, please. Councillor Alsop, Mr. Baltutis. All in favor? Thank you. Motion's carried. Thank you, everyone. Not bad.